Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff, episode 105. We're going to talk about The Wasp Woman from 1995. I watched this on YouTube. I recently watched the original, but I had not seen the remake before. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. You can find links to a complete credit list in the show notes. The film was directed by Jim Wynorski, written by Daniela Priscilla, Guy Prevost, Leo Gordon, and Zinta Zertuche, with FX makeup by Greg Aronowitz. Jim Wynorski began his film career in advertising in the late 70s. He debuted as a director with 1984's The Lost Empire, which he also wrote. Specializing in sci-fi, horror, erotic thrillers, and softcore porn parodies, Wynorski is known for his humor, cost-effective techniques, and prolific output of over 150 films. Daniela Priscilla had a short screenwriting career, penning 8 films over 4 years in the mid-90s. Guy Prevost has written 4 films spread out over about 15 years. I discussed Leo Gordon and Zinta Zertuche when I discussed the original Wasp Woman. Greg Aronowitz began as a special effects artist in the late 80s, contributing to notable projects like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park. He later expanded into production design, art direction, and directing for TV shows such as The Loud House. Aronowitz is also recognized for his sculpting and fine art. The cast includes Jennifer Rubin as Janice Starlin, Doug Wirt as Alex, Daniel J. Travanti as Dr. Eric Zinthorpe, Rocky DeMarco as Mary Dennison, billed as Melissa Brasil, Maria Ford as Caitlin, John Henry Richardson as John, billed as Jay Richardson, Garrett Graham as Arthur Cooper. Jennifer Rubin began as a model in the 80s before breaking into acting with 1987's A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. She appeared in various films throughout the late 80s and 90s, including Bad Dreams, Screamers, and The Doors. Doug Wirt built a career primarily in television, with notable appearances as Jack Crusher in Star Trek The Next Generation from 1990 to 1994. He's also done quite a bit in daytime television. Daniel J. Travanti is best known for playing Captain Frank Furillo on Hill Street Blues, a role that earned him 2 Emmys and a Golden Globe. He later starred as John Walsh in the TV movie Adam, receiving another Emmy nomination. Travanti has worked consistently in television throughout his career. He's also been very candid about overcoming alcoholism, using his story to help motivate others. Rocky DeMarco started as a model, hitting the big time when she appeared in the pages of Playboy for their 35th anniversary edition. She later transitioned into acting and stunt work. Maria Ford was a 90s B-movie actress known for femme fatale and action heroine roles in low-budget films. She started as a dancer and model, then acted in direct-to-video movies. Ford has since returned to her dancing and modeling roots. John Henry Richardson has appeared in over 400 films, TV shows, plays, and commercials. I understand he is currently a very successful performer in China. Garrett Graham started acting in the 70s, appearing in films, TV shows, and theater. He's known for his versatility across comedy, horror, and sci-fi genres. Graham has also worked as a voice actor in animation and video games. If you're going to watch The Wasp Woman, stick to the original. This 1995 version remake updates the story for a new audience while remaining true to the basic premise. While the monster makeup is certainly better, the film itself is worse in almost every other way. So now let's cover the synopsis. An extra from an Olivia Newton-John music video jogs on a forest path when she is attacked by a swarm of wasps and stung to death. Janice Starlin owns a failing cosmetic company. Worse than that, she's starting to look old. Her investors and stockholders want her to step aside as the face of advertising. Janice is romantically involved with her photographer, Alex. She gets jealous when he notices that the models screen testing to replace her are shocking pretty. Desperate to save her business and maintain her youth, she insists on becoming the test subject for a new anti-aging formula developed by a controversial cancer doctor, Eric Zinthorpe. The serum, derived from wasp enzymes, has miraculous results, but also terrible side effects. Janice dreams that Alex is cheating on her while he's visiting his sister. Her advisor, Arthur, worries about the experimental treatment. He says that he's worried for Janice, but it's pretty clear that he's more concerned with the company's financials. Zinthorpe discovers the cat that he's been experimenting on has turned into a cat-sized wasp when it stings him to death. Janice breaks into Zinthrope's lab and takes way more of the serum than she's supposed to. She immediately shows impressive improvements. She enjoys being carded and catcalled. Since Alex is out of town, she seduces his assistant. Right in the middle of sex, she transforms into a murderous human wasp hybrid She cocoons him somewhere for later eating. Now, Alex can't believe his eyes when he gets back. Janice starts to worry that she hasn't seen Zinthrop and asks her secretary, Mary, to look into his disappearance. Janice figured out that Arthur intended to betray her, so she seduces him, transforms him, and dismembers him. Janice gets super paranoid and starts hallucinating betrayal and infidelity everywhere. She continues her killing spree. Alex knows that something is going on, but he's got no clue how serious it is. He does start seriously investigating. Janice continues increasing the dose that she's taking and becomes more and more unstable. When she hallucinates that Alex is cheating on her, she transforms and goes after the young model instead of Alex. Then she goes after Mary. Alex shows up to save the day. Janice destroys herself with dynamite. Now, the Wasp woman look here is certainly a bold choice, and it's an improvement on the original movie's makeup job. It's significantly more horrifying. Rather than a simple mask and gloves on a woman wearing a black bodysuit, this creature is truly monstrous. A human-sized wasp with mammalian breasts. My only issue is I don't know if it was a good idea to try to sex up the monster. It just doesn't work. No one is attracted to the Wasp woman, even if she does have boobs. A much bigger problem is that the transformation scenes are bad. It's an early CGI tragedy. The film does not delve deeply into Wasp lore, instead opting to focus more on the science fiction aspects of enzyme-based transformations. This approach allows the narrative to explore the concept of human insect hybrids through a pseudoscientific lens, rather than relying on supernatural or mystical explanations. The movie does effectively play on the perception of wasps as aggressive, predatory insects, translating this into Janice's murderous behavior when she's transformed. This characterization taps into widespread entomophobia, particularly the fear of stinging insects, and amplifies it to horrific proportions. Janice's transformation imbues her with the relentless hunting instincts and territorial aggression associated with wasps. This portrayal is particularly effective because it takes a familiar everyday fear, encountering a wasp, and escalates it into a life-threatening scenario. The film's depiction of the underground cave as a nest is another nod to wasp behavior, albeit on an exaggerated scale. In nature, some wasp species do build underground nests, but the film magnifies this to create a cavernous, labyrinthine setting that serves both as a habitat for the transformed Janice and as a treacherous environment for the final encounter. Now, we first discussed beauty and aging in women when we covered the Roger Corman original, and I don't want to retread that discussion too much, but I do want to add a new element: sexuality. The world had changed in the 36 years between 1959 and 1995. Sex is much more in the forefront of this film. In the 59 original, Janice's primary concern is her company's market share. Her appearance matters to her, but it's framed as a professional asset instead of a personal fixation. Contrastingly, the 95 Janice presents a more complex and problematic portrayal of female sexuality and aging. Janice is deeply affected by others' perceptions of her attractiveness, to the point where overhearing a conversation about her lack of sex appeal becomes a plot point. She's bothered her faithful and attentive boyfriend recognizes that professional models are attractive. That seems a bit jealous even before she's injected with the Wasp serum. This shift indicates a move towards hypersexualization and the pressures on women to maintain youthful appearances. Now, let's not forget about post-serum behavior. She enjoys hearing a random man at the bar catcall and objectify her. Her newfound youth translates directly into an increased sexual aggression. She seduces her boyfriend's assistant, not the other way around, and then kills him as punishment for not finding her attractive before. That's worth death. She repeats the process for the investor John. For the sin of pointing out her age, she seduces him and kills him. The film draws a clear line connecting youth, sexiness, and influence. However, it also portrays this sexuality as a dangerous and destructive force. Arthur's betrayal is strictly financial. In response, she castrates him. It's as if the movie is simultaneously reinforcing and criticizing the idea that a woman's worth is tied to her sexual appeal. This dichotomy reflects complex social attitudes towards women's sexuality. On one hand, the film seems to reinforce the idea that a woman's worth is intrinsically tied to her sexual appeal. On the other, it criticizes this very notion by showing the destructive consequences of internalizing such beliefs. We live in a world where anti-aging creams are a multi-billion-dollar industry, where women are constantly bombarded with messages about staying young and sexy. The Wasp woman takes the pressure on women to stay young and attractive to its horrifying extreme. serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of equating youth with value. By exaggerating these themes, the film holds a mirror to societal pressures and individual anxieties about aging and attractiveness. It highlights how easily women can internalize these messages, potentially becoming their own worst critics and enemies in the process. The movie thus serves as both a reflection of the cultural attitudes and a critique of the unrealistic and harmful expectations placed on women regarding their appearance and sexuality. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Howling, New Moon Rising from 1995. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back next episode.